So you've heard that saying where a lot of people say it's like telephone, where someone tells you something in one ear, comes out the other, and then it just passes down and goes around. By the time he gets to the end of the line, it's totally different. Doesn't that apply to the Bible? Hasn't the Bible been changed over time, Chris?
Well, that's the assumption. But again, that the whole thing is said that way so that people, if they can prove that it is, then they don't have to pay attention to what it says. So that's really the reason why they say it that way and they phrase it like that. So I guess you could put that to the test. And that would be, fortunately, every once in a while they find older and older manuscripts and fragments, bits and pieces of the Bible, and they're able to do a comparison to what we have here in front of us today. Come to find out, whenever that happens, that you end up having really not any kind of variation of any importance. Sometimes you'll find scribal things dealing with numbers and stuff like that, but you never have anything that's like, man, that is like completely contradictory. This is something that happened of great importance when they found the Dead Sea Scrolls. It's probably the biggest example because that had so much of what they have found so far has so much of the Old Testament, and that stuff is before Jesus's time. So we're talking 2,000 years plus is how old those documents are, and they were able to compare them to our modern documents, and they find that there's continuity in it. And again, you can see what for the people who really want to look into it, you can look at what there are as far as differences, and you'll notice that it's so minuscule and minimal, it becomes more scribal, almost to the point of just like punctuation, that kind of stuff. It really is nothing, and it hasn't changed. That being 2,000 years, what we have then versus now. But I guess the bigger question that I would look at is if God really is the author of it, is he powerful enough to preserve it because of the importance of what we find content-wise inside of it? And the answer to that would have to be yes, because the last thing that is going to be possible when God is able to preserve his word, for somebody to be able to say, well, it was so corrupt, I couldn't trust anything that you said in it, so, it's completely contradictory. That whole part is just absurd. So when I read all the different things that the word has to say to me about its trustworthiness and the things that it says that are so absolute that I would be able to say, there's nothing that they've ever been able to find of old manuscripts versus new, or people commenting on what was in the Bible at the time, which is a third-party reference to the actual document itself. You're not finding contradictory views in that. So as far as the Bible is concerned, it can be intact, even though churches may come up with all kinds of absurd things, but it's based on what they believe, not what the scripture teaches. So again, as archaeology goes along, it is able to produce, whenever we find the older that the documents are, we never find that they contradict the new. So what we have is a pretty established way of looking at it, that everything from the old versus what we have currently is continuous. There isn't a degrading of the text.